see the did you guys see the way? Just wait, I want to see it again. This is why you shouldn't drive in Australia. Oh, who said that? I did. Hi YouTube, we are going to be reacting to more of Casual Geographic. I really like his videos. They're really educational, and they traumatize me even more to make sure I don't like animals anymore. Okay. We're going to be watching the top 10 animals with Black Air Force energy. Yes. Oh.
Black Air Force energy. Good old Urban Dictionary.
The beginning. Oh. wait. I want to see it.
Black Air Force energy. Good old Urban Dictionary defines it as a person or an object that has insane potential and is crazy enough to deal with anything without fear or hesitation, regardless of moral alignment, including its own rivals or competitors. And despite clearly taking grammar lessons from NBA Youngboy, I'd say whoever wrote that was pretty on point. It's a term I use a lot in my videos without really explaining exactly what it is. So here's a full list of the top 10 animals with the most Black Air Force energy. Some animals are an obvious pick, others might just surprise you. But they've all earned their spot, including the animal at number 10, which might have the least clout of any animal on this list, but that's only because it's found one place in the world. Because if this bird were airdropped across the globe, it'd definitely be more known for all the wrong reasons.
Why does the lion look scared though? Shouldn't the lion be the one chasing these? Like, isn't this supposed to be like food? I saw it in Lion King. Like, shouldn't the lion be like chasing the animals, like hunting it?
Starting off is what happens when an animal is too smart for everyone else's quality of life. The Kia is a large parrot that can be found terrorizing the people of New Zealand. And don't let it fool you, this Black Air Force with a Grinch colorway is an op in every way. They're highly intelligent and armed with a hook-shaped beak, which is the perfect tool for Kias to inflate insurance by picking apart cars. You see, the Kia is smart enough to associate people and the cars we drive with food, which is why this anti-mechanic is famous for committing the cutest carjackings you'll ever see. Of course, they don't just stop at cars. This feather felon will go through purses, backpacks.
Oh, the bird thinks like there's like food in the car? Is that why it's like dismembering the car?
Duffel bags and swipe anything they can fly away with. There was even a case where this airborne pirate stole the passport of a Scottish man that didn't want to be identified. Because no one wants to be remembered for getting denied from your home country because you got your passport pickpocketed by a panhandling parrot. It happened to him and it can happen to you, but guess what? If you happen to get your wallet snatched and try to see the Kia about it, be prepared to also eat a several $1,000 fine and even jail time. Kias are protected by the government because it only makes sense that something with wings would be above the law. And it's almost like every Kia knows it and acts accordingly. But it's not just humans getting griefed. Kias will regularly raid other birds' nests and make omelets with their unborn children.
Oh my
and they'll
God.
use that Swiss Army knife of a nose to remove parts of a living sheep to eat. And there have been reports of them victimizing dogs and even horses. But at least the Kia isn't a legitimate physical threat to people. The next animal.
Did he mention what country the Kias are from? Why does it sound like the car company Kia? Like, what countries are like these mostly in? Holy, that's kind of scary though.
Responsible for putting more zookeepers on workers' comp than any other animal.
Hey, number 9.
The African wilderness has some of the most ways to F around and find out per square mile in the world. So it makes sense that living in the most dangerous area codes in the world has turned the zebra into an actual psychopath.
What did he just say? I love the zebras. Look how cute they are with like the stripes and stuff. Like, I totally, they looked like the zebra from Madagascar. Like really shy, timid, nervous, awkward, nerdy. Oh, they're violent? Oh. Okay.
Or your horse has the strongest kick in the animal kingdom, strong enough for Marty to have written Alex out of the sequel. Which is why, even though lions body them often, every once in a while a lion has to explain to his ancestors how he got flatlined by a high-strung equality donkey. But the generational anxiety of being constantly hunted means the zebra will often one-shot something for existing too close to it. There's 2 reasons why you won't see a person riding a zebra. 1, they're too small. And 2, every zebra is fundamentally a bastard to its core. No, like literally. Because many mother zebras will actually mate with as many males as possible, because if she's showing and he suspects it's not hers, he'll violently press her until it's terminated. And if the baby's already out, that's just an invitation for him to demote her from mother to mourning. And going
Oh
back
my
to humans,
God.
zebras are infamous for allegedly putting as many zoo staff in the ER as any other animal.
Oh my
They may look
God.
like horses whose favorite part of a birthday is the finger painting station, but this panda pony's liable to paint the block with their insides if you breathe at them the wrong way. Treat one like a barnyard animal and negotiate your left hand. And because zebras are genetically closer to donkeys than horses, calling it the ass of Africa is a scientifically accurate title. And as the default protein of many of the landlords of the savannah, it's a
Okay,
title
I
they-
didn't know that though. That like zebras are like a mixture of donkey and horse. But I didn't know. That's an interesting fact. But like, the fact that they have like half donkey, shouldn't that make them like less violent though? I was like, donkeys are not that violent. They just laugh. They just do like the ee-haw. Okay, I'm not going to do the sound. I'm not going to do the sound, okay? But you know what I mean? More related to donkeys. Yeah, like aren't like donkeys pretty chill? I just forget I did the sound. They're not literally bred from donkeys, Neela. Oh, my bad.
hold with pride, because it's the best one they can get. 10% off is also what you can expect if you treat this barcode horse as a petting zoo. But at least they have the excuse of constantly being plotted on. The next animal has less excuses but more disrespect.
Okay, number 8.
Deer manage to cause billions of dollars in damage a year by playing freeze tag with
What? How are the deers scary? They're the ones like scared of us driving all the time. And I feel like they're kind of dumb with the way they always like jump in front of traffic though. How are these ones going to be scary? Isn't that kind of like, they're like the dumb, cute animals, kind of like Bambi or something? All right, let's see.
That ironically makes them the most dangerous animal in America. But where blissful ignorance makes deer a threat, the deer of Down Under initiate conflict. 9 out of 10 car accidents in Australia involve kangaroos, and a good number of them are premeditated and not by the driver. Kangaroos assault.
Why does this look like the kangaroo is like, hit me? Come on, hit me. I dare you to hit me. Oh my God, this is so scary. This is so scary, Jesus Christ.
Vehicles with enough regularity to commit insurance fraud. In fact, kangaroos will regularly beef with inanimate objects.
Did you guys see the... Did you guys see the way? Wait, I want to see it again. That was insane.
Insurance fraud.
This is why you shouldn't drive in Australia. Oh, who said that? I did. Like, look. It's so me coming. And he's always like, yeah, I'm going to jump on this car. Yeah, best idea.
In fact, kangaroos will regularly beef with inanimate objects. But it's not just a bluff. These are some brolic marsupials, armed with claws, but more importantly a sharp dagger of a toenail. Which is why it's not a kangaroo's punch you have to worry about, but that Jurassic pedicure disembowel. It's what makes their sparring sessions so lethal. That and the fact that kangaroos start every day with the specific goal of inconveniencing as many life forms as possible. If you happen to fly a drone in kangaroo country, prepare to have your insurance tested. In fact, it's not a stretch to say they hate anything that flies. Can you imagine how ridiculous this could have gotten? Imagine people thinking you died paragliding when really you survived.
Oh my God. Then you can't do, what do you call this thing? Like the diving, the air diving. You can't do these sports in Australia then. You're cooked. Like all the kangaroos was like, imagine they like see you from far away. They notice you coming down and they like chase towards you. Yeah, paragliding. That's the English. Paragliding. That is so scary.
I got mobbed by a pack of royal rabbits on impact.
Oh my
Kangaroos
God.
are number 8 because there's really no good reason for this. You see, as dangerous as Australia is, there aren't really any dominant apex land predators. While kangaroos often contend with dingoes and the occasional wedge-tailed eagle, a full-grown kangaroo doesn't have much that can threaten it, other than a bigger kangaroo. So my working theory is, they got cocky. And until nature airdrops some bears or maybe some type of big cat, kangaroos are still gonna be out here thinking they can do whatever. Try to change their mind at your own risk. As on-site as these malicious macropods are, they're not even the most disrespectful animal in Australia. And believe me, we'll get to that.
Okay, number 7.
Big 5 refers to the top 5 most dangerous animals to hunt in Africa. These include the elephant, the rhinoceros, the lion, the leopard, and an animal so fierce.
I should go back. Yeah, that's like the way the kangaroo was just there. Like this is insane.
Bears or maybe some type of big cat, kangaroos are still going to be out here thinking they can do whatever. Try to change your mind at your own risk. As on-site as these malicious macropods are, they're not even the most disrespectful animal in Australia. And believe me, we'll get to that.
Boink.
The Big Five refers to the top 5 most dangerous animals to hunt in Africa. These include the elephant, the rhinoceros, the lion, the leopard, and an animal so feared it's been nicknamed Black Death. The African Cape buffalo is a walking attempted homicide case armed with a pair of horns to make most attempts successful. They have—
Wait, really? I've been seeing a lot of videos, you know, like National Geographic videos. Or maybe I'm confusing them with... Isn't there like another animal that looks kind of like this but without the horns though? Like oh, I've forgotten the name. Whatever. I've forgotten the name though, but they kind of look like they have like this black bison. Yeah, bison. Yes. Okay, yeah. I was thinking of bison.
One of the highest KD ratios against humans with guns. In some places, these tanks with road rage and 50% of the people they go after, and a lot of that is because they will actively seek revenge. There have been stories of one buffalo murking the same hunter that took out a member of its own herd. And whether you're a lion or a hunter,
I mean, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. Bison, is that how you guys pronounce it? Bison. Yeah, originally, yes. Bison.
French cows get it back in blood. And the scariest version of a Cape buffalo is one that's already been injured. Hunters have followed a mortally wounded buffalo into thick brush, only for the freight train with legs to circle back and ambush them from behind. Which is why the #1 rule when hunting Cape buffalo: assume you only have one shot, because that's usually all you get. But it's not just humans getting bodied. Bloodlusting buffalo will seek out unsupervised lion cubs and log them out of life before they can grow up to be a threat. Not like the adults aren't at risk either. Capes will stalk and circle lone lions, using the threat of gang violence to give Mufasa a roommate. Which is how the same apex predator that can solo multiple hyenas can get sent up a tree like a house cat. They're like the Liam Neeson of animals. Wrong them and they make their life's mission to co-sign your vision. That first hit was self-defense. Everything after that—
Did he have to add the freaking Tom and Jerry screen?
That was a personal choice. And even though experienced lions can take them down, it's still very much a gamble. Especially since they can travel in herds of hundreds. That's also how they earned the nickname Widowmaker. Because right now there's at least one woman on Tinder because her husband decided to hunt a 1-ton vibe check, while the buffalo decided that would be the day he'd finally live up to his nickname. It's a murderous mammal, but like the zebra, it's often just self-defense gone way too far. Not like the antics of the next animal.
Number 6. Okay, yeah, they bait people and then ambush them. Very intelligent. Whoa. But like, since they're so big though, wouldn't that mean they're slower? But we watched the video about the hippo. The hippo is not that slow and it's really, really big. Never mind.
If you're talking about the Black Air Force of the sky, you're probably talking about crows, or really just corvids in general. Crows are smart enough to manipulate their environment to their advantage, but they're also devious enough to manipulate other animals for their own sadistic pleasure. I don't know what that crow said to that cat, but it certainly involves someone's mother. Ravens will weaponize their relationship with wolves to call out hits on competing coyotes. Crows in Tokyo have especially become a problem where they've basically gone to war against the entire human population. But it's not just humans getting bullied. There might not be a worse time to be an owl than in broad daylight surrounded by a murder of crows. Not to mention crows will often raid the nests of other birds for a disturbingly literal kids meal. And that's when they're not just straight up snatching minors in front of their parents. I think EDP just found a spirit animal. They'll regularly mob and harass other birds until they drop the food they've already caught. And crows won't hesitate to beat on much larger birds of prey.
I love this guy. Oh my god! How does he even come up with this stuff? This is insane.
Do the exact same thing with humans to get them to surrender whatever calories they have on them. But the avian onslaught peaks out with the Australian magpie. Now turns out they're not actually corvids. They actually sit closer to another bird with psychopath tendencies. Either way, Australian magpies manage to be the most feared thing in a country seasoned with crocs, cassowaries, and snakes. And while most wildlife is harmless as long as you respect their space, the earth is their space, and they have no patience for trespassers. To the point where many Australians have taken to wearing helmets to protect themselves.
Of course it's in Australia. Like, imagine the only reason you wear helmets here in Germany while biking is because, you know, safety reasons, yeah? No, in Australia, you wear helmets not because, oh, if you hurt yourself while riding. No. It's because of a bird. A bird. That's why they're wearing helmets. This is insane.
themselves from the magpie's malicious intent, especially during swooping season, where magpies will relentlessly attack anything that gets near their nest.
Literally, instead of like body protection, is birth. Is birth protection. But the freaking magpies, they'll straight up rip your eyes out of your skull. Ooh, wait, really? Wait, why are they not wearing like a full, like, I don't know, what do they, like a motorbike helmets then that like fully covers your head? Wouldn't that be better? I mean, it's kind of heavy, but still. We use zip ties on the helmet to make it swoop proof. Oh.
Actual human lives have been lost to this goth Tweety's tantrums. And since corvids can remember faces, once you've been swooped, you can expect the same treatment next year. I think Tirzu said it best, corvids are what would happen if you gave monkeys wings. But at least in the magpie's case, they're only a legitimate threat to a human way of life for the roughly 6 weeks of swooping season. Next animal is one of the biggest dangers to humans all year round.
Number 5.
It was really only a matter of time before the river rhino made an appearance. Widely considered the world's deadliest mammal, you may have noticed that hippos weren't included in the big 5, and I have to assume that's because nobody—
I wish he added like the audio. Moto likes you. I like to do. Okay, I'm not going to make the sound, but you know what I meant. You know what I meant.
Has a desire to see the next day would actually hunt them. Arguably, no animal has a harder working PR team than the hippopotamus. First of all, it's not the goofy lardonky it lets you think it is. A thin subcutaneous fat layer means hippos
Holy! 1% body fat's my goal. Yo, look at all this muscle. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Walking units. And despite their awkward appearance, hippos can outpace any human over short distances, and that includes on land and in water, where they somehow become even more territorial. Hippos have been known to lower their census totals.
Look at the way this guy is like just chilling. Wait, let me move my head. He like looks at the hippo. I was like, man, he won't get here. Look at the speed the hippo is coming at. Watch how he's going to be here in like 1 minute.
For seemingly no reason. Just when an antelope thinks it's been bailed out, the slaughter horse does origami with its spine. And even though they're supposed to be herbivores, every once in a while they'll give into the temptation of tasting the flesh of their victims.
But look how cute the ears are though. Maybe we can forgive the hippos, you know. Just think of a giant modeng. You know? It looks so cute. It looks really cute.
Cannibalism is not off the table. Science doesn't really know why exactly they do this, but science doesn't account for an animal just being a— Few predators will press this obese water pig, and those that do so at their own risk. Hippos are so carnage happy that the biggest threat to a baby hippo is a bigger, meaner bull hippo. It's how a hippo baby shower can legitimately end in a—
Wait, what? They eat their babies? Wait, let me go back a bit. What do you mean?
Hippos are so carnage happy that the biggest threat to a baby hippo is a bigger, meaner bull hippo. It's how a hippo baby shower can legitimately end in a rain of flesh confetti. Now, to be fair, plenty of animals resort to infanticide. Hippos are just really mean about it. Like I said, nobody's PR team works harder, except maybe dolphins. Which makes sense since despite resembling ungulates like warthogs and rhinos, the hippo's closest living relatives are actually cetaceans like dolphins and whales. But instead of making it out in the ocean, hippos decided to make a living griefing everything in its area code. And I didn't even mention the way they claim—
I love the way I don't know, would this one be an alligator or a crocodile? It looks kind of small though. A croc? Yeah. Isn't like the white crocs like called like albino crocs? If I remember. Yeah. He knows not to fuck with it or mom's going, true.
Out in the ocean, hippos decided to make a living griefing everything in its area code. And I didn't even mention the way they claim that area code.
Ew! Ew!
You know, if you unsubscribed right now, I wouldn't blame you. The only thing that can make this whale Karen more of a menace than it already is if it were a straight up predator, or if it hunted in packs. Then again, that would literally make it an animal further down this list.
And that was a small hippo that hit the car. That was a kind of, like, this one is not even that big, like the one he just showed here. Dude, that sounded like an earthquake.
Make this whale Karen more of a menace than it already is if it were a straight up predator, or if it hunted in packs.
Oh my God.
Then again, that would literally make it an animal further down this list.
Okay, how dunking number 4.
My personal bias was not going to
wait. There's a group of hippos that are the cartel's bots that are ruining the rainforest. Wait, why would the hippos be ruining the rainforest? Isn't that kind of like their, maybe like habitats though? Is that where they're supposed to be? Hippos are dangerous as well. They are. They really. Well, they're cute though.
Off this. Asian elephants especially get themselves into trouble by raiding villages and emptying out their rice supply, which is why Asian elephants are responsible for the bulk of human hashtags, especially since they can be just as vengeful as the Cape buffalo. Earlier this year,
What do they mean by bulk of human hashtag? What does that mean? What?
List.
Those ones were brought in
My
as
personal bias was not going to keep the elephant off this list. Asian elephants especially get themselves into trouble by raiding villages and emptying out their rice supply, which is why Asian elephants are responsible for the bulk of human hashtags, especially since they can be just as vengeful as the Cape buffalo.
okay, human. Okay, human. Okay, but that's what I wasn't really expecting though. Like I know that, for example, elephants. Since like, since it's, what do they call like their horn on the, I know it's not a horn. I think it has like another English word for it. But what do you guys call that in English? Like the white thingy that they have like close to the tusk, yeah. I know that like it's really, there's a lot of hunters that go to, let's say for example, like Africa, just to like, kill elephants to get like the tusk. Which is really fucked up, but I wouldn't mind if the elephants acted in self-defense. Yeah.
Earlier this year, a man in Thailand had an elephant working hauling wood in the brutal heat, which is illegal. And apparently the elephant knew his rights because he proceeded to rip his boss in half.
See what I mean? I feel like elephants wouldn't really attack you if you don't like provoke them or like put them in harsh conditions. Like come on. This is like understandable.
Of course, we gotta address the I'm better than that. One elephant traveled over 100 miles to murk a 70-year-old woman collecting water, only to pull up to her funeral to attack the sole evicted body, this time in front of her family. The biggest mystery of mankind is
this one this one doesn't count. And then this one, there's always a psychopath in the animal kingdom, okay? This one doesn't count.
Motivated a 4-ton pachyderm to pack up an elderly woman twice. If he had a reason, it's not like he's gonna tell us. Elephants rank over hippos because where hippos commit war crimes in the heat of passion, when an elephant catches a body, you can almost be certain it was premeditated. And it's in populations that have been fragmented by poaching where young male elephants really fly off the handle. And bull elephants are already pretty high-strung as it is, but they manage to get worse in communities decimated by poaching. To the point where 3 elephants in South Africa—
What is poaching? I don't know that English. He keeps saying poaching. Did he say what he meant? Illegal hunting and kill. Oh yeah, what I described earlier. Okay, so it's called poaching in English. Okay. Now apparently the woman was associated with poachers and it's remembered her face. There you go. There you see, we just exonerated, I think that's the English, that elephant. That elephant wasn't bad.
Point where 3 elephants in South Africa were responsible for deleting 63 rhinos as well as charging at people. Now to be fair, poaching typically targets older bulls, and research shows that without old heads around, younger male elephants go into must a lot sooner than they should. Which I get. What I don't get is why that has to involve turning a rhino from a tight end to a wideout. What you have to remember is that elephants are intelligent enough to experience every human emotion like compassion, empathy, and but for every headline like this, you might get a headline like this. And if elephants wore shoes, they'd rock the biggest black Air Forces the world's ever seen. But that's only because the next animal on this list doesn't have legs.
Number 3.
One of the biggest injustices of cinema is that where dolphins got cast as a lovable flipper, sharks got typecast as Jaws. Dolphins are the most disrespectful.
After watching his dolphin video, I can say, yeah, they deserve to be number 3. I'm actually surprised they're not number 1, but I am excited for the number 1 spot. Like, see which one he placed as number 1.
Respectful beings in the ocean. Makes sense because they're basically intelligent hydrodynamic hippos. They regularly bully sharks, use fish heads and live eels as marital aids, commit unprovoked acts of porpoiside, all while letting humanity think they're the good guys. They have mating practices so brutal that I probably can't even talk about them. Just know that what dolphins like to do to each other, guidelines might try to do to me. But we can't talk about dolphins without talking about the biggest dolphin of all. The orca is the most dominant apex predator on the planet that isn't human. And as if sheer size and intelligence wasn't enough, they typically hunt in pods with the coordination of a wolf pack, which is how this oppressive sea oriole regularly griefs the tankiest animals on the planet. They're such a force that great whites have been known to abandon hunting grounds for up to a year once this steroid equality guppy makes an appearance. Probably because they've been known to use the shark's biology against them.
Oh my god. Dude, well, I mean, to be honest, they are bigger than sharks, but I thought that like sharks were like, more, okay, let me not make that sound. More like aggressive. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Like more aggressive, like liver eaters. No, it's no. Great whites are terrified of orcas. Oh, how come like they didn't do like the movie Jaw but with an orca? Why did they make it with a shark?
To rob them of their heart and liver just to leave the rest of the shark to sink to the abyss. And then there's the fact that orcas often practice their craft on other animals. Which is why if you ever feel bad about penguins getting bullied by seals, I suggest you see what happens when a Navy SEAL joins the Air Force. And while you could chalk this up to hunting strategy, there's also the chance that living life on Roku difficulty means orcas get bored and just start trying stuff. And while it's true a wild orca has never taken out a human, that hasn't stopped them from actively messing with human vessels with disturbing regularity. It's like they know who's ruining the ocean and adjust their behavior accordingly. Either way, orcas are the humans of all things. Moral of the story, Free Willy should have been put on parole. The only thing more Black Air Force than an animal that grieves everything around it would be an animal that commits atrocities against its own kind. And that's why orcas are only number 3.
Okay, number 2, what is it?
Ask any zookeeper what animal they fear the most. If they don't say chimps, they've never worked with one. A common misconception is that chimps—
Oh, I always confuse chimps with like gorillas, not gonna lie. Like, I always thought that like, gorillas, since they're like bigger, they would be scarier than chimps since this one's like smaller. But after watching, what's the name of this movie? What's the name of the movie that's like 3D? I forgot the name of the movie. Like Planet of the Apes. I love the movie. I think I watched like the first and second one. Really, really good movie. I would recommend. I loved it.
are 5 times stronger than the average man. And while the number is actually closer to 1.5, chimps have more fast twitch muscles, a stronger bite force, and a stronger grip force. Their ability to use tools is fascinating to watch, until you realize that means they're able to create and use weapons.
My God.
People often forget that chimpanzees are pack hunting predators able to execute attacks with the precision of early man, and that doesn't just apply to their prey. Chimps in Luongo National Park have been documenting attacking families of gorillas and murking any helpless offspring they can get their hands on. Literally no animal safe from the violent tendencies of the Curious George. But it's the damage they inflict against their own kind that puts them over the top. Chimp casualties often share the same injuries: a disfigured face, missing fingers if not entire hands, and a non-consensual neutering. Chimps seem to have an understanding of what's important to them.
Oh my God! Dude! Why are they not extinct? No, like seriously, these shouldn't continue. I don't think they should continue though. Like, well, I know they're like really, really smart. You know, like you can like train one to be super smart and talk to it. Still,
to an animal, and they go out of their way to remove it. It's why I can show you this picture and you'll understand.
What is that picture?
Instead of organ donor, I have if ever.
What is that picture? Oh my God, I just noticed oh no. Okay, I just noticed. She got attacked by the chimps, right? I just noticed the thingy. I don't know what this is called in English, but I know what it is. Yeah, she's a victim. Oof, really? Chimps have the capacity for good and kindness in them, but they have a much greater capacity for violence and evil. That's what I said they should go extinct. I'm joking.
And it's why instead of organ donor, I have if ever maimed by a chimp, just let me die on my driver's license. And it's also
same. To be honest, same. He's so right there. Like, please just let me go. Just let me go. I don't want to survive it. What?
Why you probably have a better chance of surviving being locked in a room with a lion than in a room with a furry chainsaw with thumbs. The fact that a chimp can get put 6 feet under by members of its own troop guarantees them a spot on this list. The only way an animal could beat that is if something was enough of a menace to be a legitimate threat to itself. And that's exactly what number 1 is. But before we reveal number 1, here's some honorable mentions. The Canadian goose, for having the most irrational confidence of any animal. They actually almost went extinct, and now they revolve their entire—
Okay, I have gotten chased by a goose before. Really traumatizing event. That's why I don't like them.
existence around punishing humanity for it. Swans, because what geese think they are, swans always have been. Wolverines, because they're more than capable of hunting for themselves, but they'd rather tax animals 3 times their size for a living. Meerkats, for being quite literally the most homicidal mammals on the planet.
What?
And now at number 1.
How are these ones dangerous? Isn't this like, wait, what's the name? Pumbaa and Timo? What's his name? Timo? Pumbaa and Timo. Isn't that Timon from Lion King? Timon! Isn't this Timon? What? How are they dangerous?
To absolutely no one's surprise,
okay, number
the
1.
honey badger.
Of course, it's the honey. I'm going to send my dad this video. Of course, it's the honey badger. Of course.
Apologetically disrespectful creature on Earth. I have an entire video dedicated to the exploits of this steroid skunk, but here are some highlights. They'll regularly pinch food from leopards and then throw a tantrum if they get caught. They'll take on packs of animals that realistically should be able to one-shot them. But the Oreo weasel has plot armor in the form of crackhead courage. They raid the hives of African bees, the same bees that are 10 times meaner and sting 10 times more than their European cousins. And honey badgers aren't immune to bee stings. They're resistant, but enough stings will flatline a honey badger. But ask the honey badger if he cares. He won't answer, but you know the answer. These prison ferrets also run fades with highly venomous cobras. If they manage to get bitten, they'll just slip into a cobra-induced coma and then wake up hours later and walk it off like a Sunday morning hangover. Even the
What? So like the venoms doesn't really like the poison doesn't really affect the honey badger? Are they like immune or something? Is that why it just like makes them sleepy? They sleep it off? Oh, holy. Yeah, I thought that like they just sleep, but like, so the venom doesn't do anything. They just wait for it to like be done. Huh, okay.
The honey badger's idea of self-defense is as offensive as you can get. As in, they'll reverse their anal pouches inside out and release a smell so pungent it can allegedly paralyze attacking bees. And honestly, any animal that religiously attacks the baby makers of others is a different tier of menace. No other badger represented this better than Stoffel, who once escaped from his enclosure and picked a fight with a neighboring family of lions who nearly mauled him to death. After about 2 months in the hospital, the first thing the affiliated ferret did fresh out was go right back at the same lions to settle the score. And that was only one of the hundreds of times Stoffel managed to raise the blood pressure of the people around him. But here's the real kicker. Stoffel was actually hand-raised by humans at a young age and therefore imprinted on them. He had no intention of ever leaving. The whole thing was just a game to him. Because if blatant disrespect were a sport, they still wouldn't play it because anything involving rules goes against a honey badger's belief system. But that's gonna do it for this video. For more consistent content, be sure to follow my Instagram and TikTok. I try to post daily on both. And to further support this channel, my Patreon's also gonna be in the description. But also, like, don't feel like you have to give anything. If you watch the video this far, you've already done more than enough. But other than that, drink water, hug your mother, don't hug a honey badger. It'll never end well. And I'll see you in the next one.
He just had to like add that disclaimer, lol. Oh my god, to be fair, the last clip was cheetahs who was sweethearts. Cheetahs are sweethearts? Are you sure? Oh, I'm confusing them with like tiger.